But we start with the breaking news tonight. President Trump asking for prayers as airstrikes begin in Syria, and the U.S. is not going it alone. What you're looking at right now are fighter jets taking off from a British Royal Air Force base in Cyprus. France, the United Kingdom, and the United States are all trying to send a message to Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Blasts from airstrikes have turned the sky over Damascus orange. You can see pictures there from Syria. The Pentagon is absolutely confident Assad is behind the alleged chemical attack on his people last weekend that killed 40 people. This is retaliation.
We are prepared to sustain this response until the Syrian regime stops its use of prohibited chemical agents.
Mike Valerio joins us with the latest from the Pentagon's briefing within the past few minutes. And Mike, what do we know about how long these strikes are going to last?
Well, Leslie, frankly, it all depends what Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad does next. We heard from Defense Secretary Jim Mattis just a few minutes ago, and he said whatever happens next depends on the dictator. If he doesn't use these banned chemical weapons anymore, you won't see airstrikes above Damascus like we saw just a few minutes ago. If he continues to use these weapons and there are evidence of men, women, and children who are being senselessly murdered, then there will have to be some sort of prolonged airstrike or some prolonged intervention on the part of the American, French, and British forces like we saw just a couple minutes ago. So to break down what happened, essentially the strike is over, at least for now. Defense Secretary Mattis saying that this is a one-time shot, at least for the moment. The forces amassing around 9 p.m. Eastern and striking 3 main targets, most of them around Damascus. And that's certainly a departure from what we saw in April of 2017 when we had one airfield and certainly just a couple dozen planes targeted. These were 3 essential targets to the regime. We had a scientific research facility, which is pretty much code for a chemical weapons manufacturing center targeted first and foremost. Then we had a chemical weapons silo and storage center targeted right after that. And then we had a command post for the Syrian regime military forces that was targeted in the north of the country near Homs, which is actually where the first chemical attack back in April of 2017 took place. Interesting to note, Chief General Dunford, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, said that Russia was not notified of any of these targets, which is certainly a departure from certain U.S. protocol that we've seen in the past when Russia is given at least 5 minutes notice to make sure that none of their forces are in the area. But we have no word of any kind of American losses, no word on Syrian casualties as of yet, and no anticipated retaliation from Syria at this point. Leslie, we'll send it back to you.